It was all balderdash. It was neither important nor detailed. The detailed parts were not important, and the important parts were not detailed. I want to talk about a few issues that I saw. Issues revolving around the 10-point agenda points to a specific thing: jobs, jobs, jobs. Jobs for the youth, jobs for our women, jobs for our men. This nation, we were promised jobs, that we would get jobs to a tune of around 1 million jobs annually, per year. What are we seeing in return? Just PR exercise. With the issue of the jobs, because of lack of jobs, the youth are going on the streets. Because of lack of jobs, our people are suffering. People are opposing this government simply because there are no jobs that we are supposed to give to our youth, men and women in this country. We look at the important things that must be done by this government to create jobs, and they haven't considered any of them. For us to have serious jobs in this nation, we must industrialize. There must be an industrial revolution, industrialization. But the capacity, when we talk about energy as a part of the infrastructure that we have in this nation, the electricity that we produce in this country, the cost is so high. We only produce around 3,800 megawatts that cannot support industrialization in this country. Then the president was telling us that by the year 2040, we should be producing only 2,000 megawatts of electricity by the use of nuclear reactants, nuclear energy. Meanwhile, our neighbor here in Ethiopia, in 2025, launched the Grand Ethiopia Renaissance Dam. That dam alone is producing 5,150 megawatts of electricity. Kenya itself is importing 400 megawatts of electricity from Ethiopia. That dam contains 74 billion cubic meters, the capacity, and was constructed at a cost of only 4.8 billion US dollars. Then we are being told that in the year 2040, we are expecting nuclear energy at a cost of 500 billion Kenya shillings. The cost, the housing that we are doing, affordable housing, per year we are spending 120 billion Kenya shillings. In 5 years, we'll be spending 600 billion Kenya shillings. Meanwhile, affordable housing is a private good, and the role of a government is not to participate in provision of private goods, but to facilitate consumption of merit goods like education and health, and also provide public goods like roads. So you wonder, where is our priority? Where did we go wrong as a nation? That what we want to achieve in 2040, Ethiopia has already achieved by 2025. So therefore, when it comes to issue of handling jobs in this nation, we are not ready. Electricity is very costly in this nation as compared to East African countries. So without that proper energy as part of the infrastructure, we cannot create jobs. And because of that, the youth will continue rising, and the youth will continue demanding for what is rightfully theirs. Lastly, on the issue of the public debt, we were being told so many things about public debt. Everything that was mentioned about public debt yesterday is completely out of place, is completely mere statements of puff and misrepresentation of facts. Yesterday, when they were talking about debt, we know very well that our Constitution in Article 229, Sub-Article 4, Paragraph G, gives the Auditor General the mandate to audit the public debt. And it states clearly that every 6 months after every financial year, the Auditor General shall audit our public debt. What happens in our nation? The system, the government, does not allow the Auditor General to audit our public debt. What is happening in our public debt? Right now, we have a debt of 12.3 trillion Kenya shillings. Out of that, 6.8 trillion is the domestic debt. Then 5.5 trillion is the foreign debt. Then every year we are paying 2.3 trillion as debt. The problem is not taking a debt. We all know all this from the economists who are here, that a debt is not a problem. But what you do with that debt is what is the problem. We borrow money for personal consumption. We borrow money for recurrent expenditure. We borrow money to loot as a nation. And the moment you loot that money, that debt becomes unproductive debt. The debt that we have is not productive. And therefore, we are not even creating jobs, because the moment we make the debt be productive, then we shall be creating jobs with that debt. A child born today in 2026 is born with a debt of 200,000 Kenya shillings, approximately. Therefore, where are we headed as a nation? Because we are still going to borrow more money just to waste. And therefore, my scorecard on a scale of 0 to 10, I want to say that the government has scored -1. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Babu. Honorable Undo, 5 minutes, please, so that we can engage the... Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. When I listened yesterday and what I read yesterday, it was a sad day for Kenya. It was a sad day for the followers of Raila Amolo Odinga. It was a sad day for Raila Amolo Odinga, wherever he is. What I saw yesterday was actually a praise and worship of the king at State House. It's such a shame that ODM leadership can stoop that low to go and praise the president for doing nothing. I do not know what they have been fed on since Baba Raila Amolo Odinga departed on the world. Let me focus on the economic issues. They keep on gloating that the economy is expanding, the economy is growing. But truth be told, the Kenyan economy has remained stagnant all the 3.5 years President Ruto has been in the office. When you look at the statistics of the Kenya National Bureau of Standard Statistics, clearly indicates nothing has changed. The poverty level nationally has remained about 38% out of the total population of the Republic of Kenya. There is this issue they keep on pontificating all over about the reduction in inflation rate. Kenyans, and this is where the lie lies. And it's about data produced by a credible institution, their own data, and that one of other international agencies. They keep on telling us that inflation has dropped from 9.6 to 4 point something. That's what they keep on telling you all the time. But the truth of the matter, there's something you call non-core inflation. That encompasses food, energy, and transport. And this data is available all over. As at the end of December 2025, the rate stood at 10.1%. 10.1%. So the true inflation that affects the common mwananchi stood at 10.1% against the lies we keep on being told 4.5%. We are being told that the economy has stabilized and has grown. And as my colleague Babu has said, how many youths have been employed? What has been the reduction in the level of unemployment? How many people are working? And what has been the change in the disposable income for the last 3 years? Many Kenyans, when you look at your pay slip, those who are lucky to have a pay slip, you can see how emaciated, how mutilated it has been from 2022 to 2026. Kenyans, the lies are becoming just too much and unbearable. As a country, as a generation, we cannot allow these lies to continue. On the issue of securitization that have been told us, you have heard what the Office of Auditor General has spoken about Talanta Stadium, what is happening in the sports fund, the blatant looting, exaggeration of the cost of the Talanta Stadium to a whopping 10 billion, where the money has been lost. Much more is going to be lost at Bomas of Kenya. Much more we are going to see in these other funny grandiose projects they are going to set up. And for record purposes, and this we have said and repeat to say, securitization is debt of record. That's the fact of the matter. It's debt of record. So the debt level of Kenya could even much more than the 12.5 trillion they keep on telling us, which again is above the threshold set under the PFM Act. So honorable Kenyans, be vigilant, keep your eyes wide, and we pray for the soul of Raila Amolo Odinga. Please reincarnate and save this country. Thank you.
Asante sana. Mheshimiwa Kibagendi.
Thank you, my SG, and I'm indeed proud to be associated with this wonderful team, people who truly mind about our country. I would like to speak initially on issues to do with the in the 10 points agenda. One of the issues we wanted tackled is the issue of protection of rights to assembly. You realize we are in political competition, and we need to have what I can call a dignified political competition. We, however, have realized each time we try to assemble, or each time we have a rally or a function anywhere in the country, this fearful legion of looters have continued to try and disorganize us. They even send goons to our meetings. And this has happened not just to our team, any other kind of assembly of other politicians, including the United Opposition, for which we would like to tell this regime that it is high time on this particular one. We are giving you, like Babu Owino said, -1. For me, I'll give you 1 on the protection of rights to assemble. The other thing I would like to talk about is corruption. And focus for me will be around the Ministry of Health and SHA. You realize this is an area I've given a lot of attention, and you have seen me even at one point have a very intense altercation with the architect of corruption in that ministry, Honorable Duale. Honorable Duale constantly plays politics with the people of this country. You have seen the Auditor General has given reports not once, not twice, whereby lots of money have gotten lost from SHA. And I'm here to tell you that I sit in the Health Committee, and I can confirm that we have a problem. We have a problem in the Ministry of Health, from personnel management all the way to how SHA is being run. We have what we call conflict of interest, particularly from the same architect of this looting, who is one of the chief suppliers in KEMSA. He is a provider of the system that has totally refused to work in SHA. And they are the people who ensure hospitals that do not exist or hospitals that do not offer services are the ones that are paid first. You know, this regime is allergic to truth. And that is why when I said the other day that Parliament has been auctioned, and I'm saying it here again,
And those who have a moment, please talk to Honorable Tangula, Senior Counsel. I saw Honorable Tangula go when you are having the LSK elections. The gentleman does not even realize he needs to have a practicing certificate to be able to vote. And he's here coming with what I can call Bukusu Diskomatanga rules to use them in Parliament for issues, things I've said outside Parliament. We need to have a Parliament that protects wananchi, a Parliament that fights corruption. We have a Parliament that is enhancing corruption in this country in the sense that they have aided the executive to do the wanton looting that you are seeing today. My colleague has spoken about the stadium, Talanta Stadium, and many other projects. And recently, again, on corruption, believe you me, Parliament handed over an opportunity to the executive to a point of, is it 5 trillion Kenya shillings? They call it infrastructure fund, but I call it pocket money for them to use in the coming election. But I believe Kenyans understand and know what they actually want. The other thing I would like to talk, sorry, before I finish on corruption, and that is why I'm asking Kenyans, on the issue on Ministry of Health, we need to go hard, particularly on this CS, Adan Duale, who keeps chest thumping, that is the one who gave the EACC CEO the job he has today. He gave the job, you realize they are kinsmen, and the person who is at DCI, and hence you realize EACC is busy being used to deal with politicians who do not agree with this regime that is allergic to truth. They recently sent me a letter, SG, to my NGCDF because I do not agree with them. They sent a letter to the fund manager, and they are not specific, even on the specific project they want to look at. They are on a fishing expedition, and it is Duale who is instigating this. It is Duale, and it is because I will continue. I will not be intimidated. I'll continue talking about the corruption in SHA. We will not stop. And I'm calling upon Kenyans. It is high time, including the TikTokers, let us aggressively pursue this issue of corruption in SHA. Now, to finish, I've heard the president throw around numbers about the number of people that have been employed in government. 1 minute, he says there are 250,000 people employed in Mujengo, as if every Kenyan is a fundi. He again goes on to say he has exported close to 400,000 young people to work, particularly in the Middle East. But one time, together with some journalists, we decided to do an audit of the number of people who have actually exited this country to go abroad for work. Because when you go for work, you get a work visa. The number does not get to even 89,000. It is about 88,000 plus a few hundreds. But we keep allowing, and particularly to the media, we need to be more concerned about these numbers. Let us ask them to show us how many people have actually gone to Saudi Arabia, how many people have gone to Dubai, how many people are in Qatar, so that we get the right numbers. We should not allow this regime to continue lying to us about the number of people who've been given opportunity to work, whether it is locally or even abroad. I truly appreciate this opportunity, SG, and let us continue. Let us ensure we are fearless, and we must confront this monster. Thank you.
Asante sana. There are 2 more members of parliament who will speak, then we go to the next category of speakers. I will have the Honorable Barongo come on stage, please.
Thank you very much, Mheshimiwa Sifuna. My contribution on this topic today would be to speak about on point number 10, which is promoting sovereignty of the people and rule of law and constitutionalism. Now, dear Kenyans, I'm sure you have read in the sections of the media something that I would call passports gate. Kenya has been able to issue a passport to a gentleman related to a war general in a neighboring country. This has removed the neutrality that Kenya has had for a very long time in diplomatic circles. This action, if the country that we infringe with decides that they are going to take an action that is detrimental to our country. For example, you understand that these neighboring countries also import our tea. Now, if they decide to ban left alone, and the neutrality that we for a long time enjoyed will disappear. Kenyans going into other countries will now go through a multiple layer of security checks, which we did not have previously. Does this really help Kenyans, or it leaves us poorer than we used to be? Now, also on the right to peaceful assembly, just this morning, the state again has sent goons to this venue to come and interrupt what I believe is a constitutional undertaking. A government that knows what it is doing should not be afraid of a peaceful assembly of people where we are just going to contribute to a discourse that is meant to make our country better. During our Linda Wananchi rally at Kitengela, there's a gentleman called Vincent Ayomo who was killed. What has happened? What has the government done since that loss? And as we are heading into an election, what should we expect from this government? Are Kenyans optimistic that this government is going to create an environment in which Kenyans will exercise their full rights of choosing the leaders that they desire to push this country forward? On the point around promoting and protecting young people, how does bullying Wakina Zwena here when they are creating content help them? How is that creating an environment in which a Kenyan is supposed to exercise their right to oversight their own government? And how about what we are seeing the government doing, which is evicting young people from spaces in which they are doing gainful business activities to provide for their livelihoods? How does that leave Kenyans better off? What we are seeing here and what we saw yesterday is a government that is engaged in self-glorification, is a government that is out of touch with the reality. We might say all of these things that we want to say here this morning, but the fundamental question we should ask ourselves is, are we better off? Are we better off? I can speak personally about my payslip. This government takes a lot of money from my payslip. It is an amount of money which, if I had, would today be employing more than 6 people on a minimum wage. How am I supposed to be happy about that? For this and other reasons, and the contributions that my colleagues have made, we want to ask Kenyans not